Welcome back to You, Me, and a Fence Post, the podcast with a sibling's perspective around farming, family, friends, and a whole lot of other random topics. I'm Clint Schaffer.
And I'm Tara Schrock.
And today we're going to take y'all on a little bit of a trip.
Oh boy, where are we going today?
I think we're just going to have to hop in a vehicle and just head across the country.
As long as it's the memory maker.
The old memory maker. So we talked about the memory maker last episode, right?
We did.
And so for those of you that don't know what the memory maker is, this was a 1984 Chevrolet conversion van.
It was, and I believe it was diesel.
Yeah, a 6.2 liter diesel engine. I mean, it was a gutless wonder. But,
all I know is we were rolling smoke everywhere we went.
Rolling coal everywhere. Oh, that is, but an absolute blast. Like, we would take this on holidays. We would take it typically to Grandma and Grandpa's down in around Peoria.
And vacations.
And vacations.
Yeah.
But we only took a handful of vacations.
We did.
Over time.
We did. It was like the Griswolds, how they travel in a large memory maker station wagon, but ours was a big van.
Well, I think that's something that we'd like to know. I mean, how about you make a comment down below and tell us what was the vehicle that you all took vacations in? I mean, was it a 1984 Chevrolet conversion van, or was it the Griswold's, wood paneled station wagon, or maybe it was an RV? I tell you, we did take one trip in an RV. I remember Grandma and Grandpa had that, and that was one of those like van hangover RVs there. So,
and this was actually all before safety and seatbelts, probably. Because I think we were kind of jumping all over the place in anything that we took.
Whatever we took, yeah, there were no rules past like the driver's seat. So,
none. But there was one specific rule in the van, and that was that one of two cassette tapes had to be played.
Oh, cassette tapes.
Do you know, like chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug?
Make you want to holla hi-de-ho.
Roger Miller.
Yeah.
Any Roger Miller fans out there?
We had Roger Miller's greatest hits.
We did, and we played it until it wouldn't play anymore, and Dad had to reorder it so we could continue.
Right. I forgot that he had to actually order a new copy of it.
So we wore it out because, this was before CDs, and we didn't necessarily, we loved the entire tape, but we never wanted to listen to it in order, and so we always had him fast forward, reverse, fast forward.
You can't roller skate in a buffalo herd. We had them all. The other one, if I'm not mistaken, would be what was
Delta
that?
Dawn.
Delta Dawn, right?
Uh-huh.
In her younger days, they called her Delta Dawn. Right?
It's not like prettiest lady I ever laid my eyes on.
Yeah. No, I tell you what, that actually is funny because we did have a pile of cassette tapes. Those were probably the two that we burned through the most. I want to say like Kenny Rogers was in there, and I think we had a few others.
We did, but our parents listened to old school music.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We couldn't get them to turn on. I think back in the day it was like Power 98.9. Like
Power 98.9. That's right. Wow, that throws me back a few decades. So with that, I guess I'd also ask, what are the artists or the songs that would kick you back to your memories, of taking these kind of road trips? Because with talking with friends, everybody has that, whether it's Johnny Cash or whether it's I think one of my buddies said Poison even. I'm like, all right,
I have that cassette.
Apparently had the fun parents there. So.
What was your first cassette you ever bought?
Oh man, my first one, which my mom and dad would have had to have bought it, but I think it was like 1991. And it was the single of Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby, which probably explains a lot. So, How about you?
I actually don't remember. My Cabbage Patch doll back in the 80s came with a cassette with a little Cabbage Patch song. So that was probably my first one. I would have to say it was early on, but I really don't remember after that. I still have all mine though. I've kept them all.
Yeah, I think you even have like Dad's like old like 8-tracks.
I do, 8-tracks and all the records. Evidently I collect this old trinket stuff too.
So back to the old memory maker. So what's the first trip that you remember?
The first big one would be out west. We took 2-week trip and headed to Yellowstone. So that's probably mine.
88, I think, right?
Yeah,
It was like the year. I think like that was the year of the drought. I think it was
a drought. I think
terrible year to take
Yellowstone
a trip,
was on fire.
Oh, that's right. It was like we could there was like burning fire like several miles away. That's right.
We actually, I think our cabin got moved a couple times, like to the different places. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
What else was what else did Dad have? Didn't he have like a giant video recorder that he took along?
Huge. So actually, it was probably our second video recorder. I don't know if you remember the first, but it actually had the cassette hanging off of him.
The VCR,
the
basically,
VCR
right?
That was recording, and then big microphone out there. So this was
like when I say VCR though, it's the actual VCR that you would plug into your TV, right?
Too.
Like
yes.
That's wow.
So this was our upgraded model. This was, I think, our second one. And so it was kind of all inclusive, big up here. And yeah, he videoed that entire trip.
I just remember one time that I think Mom was absolutely furious with him because Dad was that guy that he's like, hey, I got a video camera. I can go anywhere, right? And he ends up like going into this area where there's like a herd of buffalo, and he's like within 5 foot of whatever buffaloes sitting there.
All those signs that said do not feed the animals and disrupt the buffalo and wildlife, we did not.
Wasn't there like a bear in our van or tried to get in our van
because
at some
he
point?
was feeding it.
Oh,
so yes, but I think the worst part of that trip was on our way home. We went up through Montana and the Badlands and onto
we came back up north there.
Yeah, the president's faces.
Oh, Rushmore. Yeah, there you go.
Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
But when we got to Montana, we decided that we were going to take a scenic route and go up a mountain. And so we started up here, and this was against my mom's wishes. And it said the first sign that we got to was trucks only. Nothing passed here but trucks.
Now, hold on. The Memory Maker's a Chevrolet conversion van. That's on a truck frame, so we're still good. Still good. We can go through trucks.
Yeah, we keep going up. The next sign was nothing but Jeeps past this point.
We probably should stop. No, we're no longer good.
Okay, I didn't know if you were going to defend it.
No, I'm not going to defend that one.
And then we continued to go until we are on this tiny little pebbled path, if that's what you'd like to call it. And we finally get to a horseback only after this point.
And that's when Dad finally stopped. So thankfully.
It was that or like divorce papers and no children. I don't know. I think Mom was pretty upset at that point.
Well, didn't we also, this is a different trip. I think this was we went out to Colorado. This was in the 90s now, like mid 90s, I want to say.
We took 2 diesel vehicles because we pulled a camper with the 3/4 ton truck.
That's correct. Yeah. So we pulled the camper and then followed it with the old Memory Maker.
And it was a stick.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. It was a 5-speed. That was a 93 5-speed.
Single cab.
That's right. That entire trip, I was pretty much forced to play Polly Pocket with our cousin Sarah. Do you remember that?
You were, and it was really funny because
Polly Pocket, good cousin right here.
Because she threatened you with them because you said you told her an answer to something that she didn't like, and she's like, "That's it. I'm never playing Polly Pockets with you again." And you were like, "Amen."
Until like 3 miles down the road, and I was probably forced to play him again. But no, that was actually a fun trip because we went with Uncle Dave and his family, and of course went out to Colorado. But didn't we take the van up Pikes Peak?
I hiked Pikes Peak. Me and my other sibling Brandy and my 2 uncles. We hiked Pikes Peak.
Now hold on. Now, if I remember right, wasn't there a specific elevation that you stopped talking?
I did. It was someplace between 11 and 13,000. I don't remember.
11.2 is what's
whatever.
hitting me.
Who's keeping track of this?
Well,
okay, so
hold on. I'm going to look at real estate at 11.2.
It was more work than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I stayed back, so I did not hike. But I remember taking the van up to Pikes Peak because we met you up there.
Yes.
But when you guys all got up there. But I remember when we were coming back down, I remember being extremely scared. And I was scared because, do you remember all the signs that said, like, don't get your brakes hot?
And they check your brakes. There's like brake checkpoints there. So
yeah, basically, I thought we were going to go off of said mountain in a fiery crash. Like,
is there anybody else out there who's ever hiked Pikes Peak?
yeah, that's because
we know he hasn't.
I cannot say I have hiked Pikes Peak, so that I apparently need to go back out now. So getting called out here. So no, I just remember that being like a really fun trip though, because I think at that point in time we also took the camper. Like we were going from like campground to campground in a couple of those areas anyway.
We were, and we were sleeping in the memory maker.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because we had, of course,
we had
two
tents
families.
And we had, you know, because it was a pretty small camper. So yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Didn't we also take like an RV, like one of those like van RV, a little bigger than a van?
Yeah. So the other grandparents, they had that smaller RV. I don't know what you call them with the
with the overhang on the
yeah. We took it to, was it the Dells?
I think it was a Wisconsin Dells.
Yeah, I think because I bungee jumped there. So what'd you do up there?
Oh, I cried every time that you'd get me close to a bungee jump. I don't want to jump off of something. I was perfectly happy on the ground. I don't know why I need to go do that. Isn't you and Brandy both bungee jumped in harnesses though, right?
Yeah, and then Dad went by his ankles.
Dad did that was back in the day when they would still allow like the
200 and some feet.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
Like it was one of the big cranes, and I remember like watching my dad just bail off this thing with strapped to his ankles.
Well, we begged him to let us go bungee jumping. And then finally he said yes. And he had to bring back this waiver back to the memory maker so him and Mom could sign it. And me and my sister were reviewing it. And it said, something about death. And I think at that point in time, it got like a little bit real for us. And we were like, what are we doing? Like, you could die doing this? Like, very naive. So
Mom's over on the park bench going, is our insurance paid up here? Where are we at? So no, that was a fun trip. I think where else did we take that thing? I'm gonna say didn't we take it to the Ozarks? I think didn't we pull the boat? I think our little 16-foot boat
and to Myrtle Beach.
We did, yeah. That
you
was
went with a
one
broken arm.
I broke my arm literally 2 days
before we left.
Before we go on vacation to the beach. So here I am swimming the first time ever that I get to an ocean, and I'm swimming with a garbage bag and duct tape. And I just remember on like the last day I had kept this cast perfectly dry, and the last day it breaks and just fills my entire cast up with salt water. Oh, it's horrible. That was horrible. That was, man, was that the trip? One of them, it was, I can't remember if it was on the van or maybe it was the truck on Colorado that we were driving down and blew the serpentine belt on it. Because that was always the other thing. Like, when you take these long road trips, you have to have like repair shops.
And we always had to have the air conditioner charged. Remember that?
Right.
I don't know if there's some Freon leak or whatever. Yeah, but I agree. We always had to have. But do you know the interesting thing is because we spent many, many hours in this during these said vacations.
Oh, yeah.
And it was all without electronics.
For the most part.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Until you got a little bit older. But I should watch what I'm saying to Mr. Gamer. But, yeah, we did not have electronics.
Yeah, no, there was no electronics.
As a matter of fact, we had a black and white TV that used to sit up at the pit, the grain bin. And he hooked that up for us with antennas trying to get reception.
Trying to catch reception as you're flying down the interstate. That's right. I forgot about that.
And then the TVs with like the built-in VHS, we bumped up to that once we put it in the middle of the seats in the van.
So I know in the late 90s, this is going to go back to my gamer side here, but in the late 90s, Dad had like this 9-inch TV, color TV with a VCR on it, and it had inputs, and he also had an inverter, and I was able to hook up, I believe it was my Nintendo 64. I think is what it was. But anyway, we were driving down the road like playing like Mario Kart, which that was like, that's cool still today,
I know, but think about our kids. There's no way they would survive.
Oh, yeah, your kid's probably like mine. He doesn't get off of his phone if we're on a long trip.
So for 3 years, we lived in Wisconsin, And I made my kids not use electronics.
Yeah, you kind of went like electronics free for a while, right?
We're still pretty limited, but it was so much fun because we started playing like the license plate games and the ABC and.
That is a fantastic point. Actually, we used to play what was the ABC game. And you had to, what was that? You had to find the
letters and a sign or a license plate or whatever, and then you would go on to the next, and you were trying to beat your, But yeah, during these trips.
Good luck with like Q, right? That was like the one that like you couldn't find.
During this time, we were still coming back to the farm every weekend, so we were living up there during the week. So we made 2 4-hour trips, one back up there, and so we always played this game. And we got really good at knowing where all like the Quiznos and stuff like that because Q is such a tricky letter. And we even had the mile markers like on the interstate. We knew if we got there, that was going to be the Q.
Oh, that's right. I remember playing that. What was there was a license plate game that we used to play of trying to find different things or all the states on license plates. Man, I'm just trying to think. How about y'all? Like, what were some of the games that y'all played while you were going down, especially like in the days of no electronics?
I know.
What were those? Go ahead and comment below and let us know what were those things that you were playing while driving down the road.
You remember the trivia things that you used one of those markers?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what they're called.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but you'd fill in and it would tell you. It was like an invisible ink or whatever.
Yeah. Invisible ink. We always picked those up at the truck stops.
That's right.
And this is back in the day when we had an atlas, which caused a lot of fights.
The Rand McNally is, the giant atlas that we would have.
And my dad would be asking, like, what the next exit is or what we needed to get off on. And my mom would be frantically looking, and he's like, hurry up.
I'm going to miss my exit. Oh, man.
I know.
You know what's funny is nowadays you just punch it in your phone and it tells you where to go. I mean, it's I used to like be nervous driving in like, let's say downtown Chicago, right?
Yep.
Anymore, it's like, I don't know. I don't care. I'd punch it down in my phone and away we drive.
So not even that long ago, though. I mean, even back when I first started traveling, which now it's been like 12, 13 years ago or whatever. But I printed off my instructions and I put them in my folder.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember the map thing or whatever.
Well,
I would get on my work computer, I would type it up, and then I would print off the step-by-step, and that's always what I had right next to me.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We actually, if you want to talk about the different steps for printing maps, we went from a Rand McNally to then Dad had to buy the world map CD-ROM for like Windows 3.1.
Yeah,
right. I mean, like it was its own application. Wasn't on the web. The old interweb wasn't kicking at this. Well, not widespread. So he would he would always buy the updated CD-ROMs to do the world map or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we kicked over to
Garmin's.
The map, whatever the map website was. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Kind of like
MapQuest.
MapQuest. There you go. Yeah. Yep. Printed out the things on MapQuest.
And then even when you got your Garmin's, you had to go upload them. Remember?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Have you ever been like driving on one of your Garmin's and you're driving down the road and you're looking at the Garmin and you're like driving through a cornfield because it's not updated?
These young kids have no idea the survival skills that we have.
Yeah. Good luck if we still know how to read a map, though, is probably the sad part. So, well, Tara, I think this has been a lot of fun. Taking this trip, but I think we're pulling back into the drive. I think we're
Home City,
pulling right into Home City. Throw the cover on the van and put it away until next time here. So.
Hey, it's been fun. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining. I would ask you if you like the video, be sure to like the video. Also, give us a subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of any new future content. So, and also make sure you're posting comments. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear new ideas for shows down the road, and again, all those different fun things. But thanks for joining us here today, and thanks for joining You, Me, and a Fence Post.
And you can always jump on Twitter and share your fun memory maker pictures with me. So I'm a picture fanatic.
Ooh, I like that. How do they get a hold of you on Twitter?
At Tara Schrock. Actually, it's Tara_Schrock.
Yep. I'm going to be at Clint Schaffer. So go ahead and send us out on Twitter there. So.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a great day.